Welcome back. We're on the Art of War. Person to do. Our mind is being blown. Alright. How to make the best of both strong and weak. That is a question involving the proper use of ground. Thus, the skillful general conducts his army just as though he were leading a single man, willy-nilly by the hand. It is the business of a general to be quiet and thus ensure secrecy, upright and just, and thus maintain order. If your general's like telling all the secrets. Or like being like what's a good word? Like an overly flamboyant, pompous general won't really last very long. Or a general who's too busy focused on eating instead of doing his duty. He must be able to mystify his officers and men by false reports and appearances. Wow. Mystify his officers. To have an aura about him. And thus keep them in total ignorance. I wonder how that would be. The general and his officers, keeping them in total ignorance would be very hard to do. How are you supposed to, well, in case there's a traitor in the ranks, I guess? But I could see how that could be logistically bad, because what if your generals, or they could get tortured and captured and reveal all the secrets? Yeah, so it really comes down to like who deserves to know what, right? Ooh, cool picture. Oof, warfare in that time. Oh, you Madonna. By altering his arrangements and changing his plans, he keeps the enemy without definite knowledge. Changing his plans. By shifting his camp and taking circuitous routes, he prevents the enemy from anticipating his purpose. Circuitous, like a circuit. Maybe going back. Think about that, like a circuit. At the critical moment, the leader of an army acts like one who has climbed up a height, then kicks away the ladder behind him. He carries his men deep into hostile territory before he shows his hand. Before he plays his cards, right? He burns his boats and breaks his cooking pots. Like a shepherd driving a flock of sheep, he drives his men this way and that, and nothing whither he is going. It's trippy how he mentions burning boats, because I can't remember if it was Caesar or Cortez or literally both of them who did that, but it is a famous strategical event that has occurred in history. To muster his host and bring it into danger, this may be termed the business of a general. The different measures suited to the 9 varieties of ground. The expediency of the aggressive or the defensive tactics, and the fundamental law of human nature. These are things that must most certainly be studied. Human nature. You study human nature in order to know how to be a good general. When invading hostile territory, the general principle is that penetrating deeply brings cohesion. Remember, he said that previously, makes you more unified. Penetrating but a short way means dispersion. So if you only go in a little bit, maybe they might disperse back. When you leave your own country behind and take your army across neighborhood territory, you find yourself on critical ground. When there are means of communication on all 4 sides, the ground is one of intersecting highways. When you penetrate deeply into a country, it is serious ground. When you penetrate but a little way, it is facile ground. Remember, facile was the easy way, and then the serious ground was like it was very open to attack, or you had a strong, what was it called? It's not a citadel, but fortified city behind you if you went deep into a capital and you didn't destroy it kind of as you went, or had a good backup plan to like cap them off from you with a way of escaping? When you have the enemy's strongholds on your rear and narrow passes in front, it is hemmed ground. Could you imagine having like a citadel behind you, just packed full of soldiers waiting to like gut you, and then in front of you you got a tiny little narrow pass that you got to send single file in, and the archers on top can pick your soldiers off as they go through that pass? Oof, that is desperate. Therefore, on dispersive ground, I would inspire my men with unity of purpose. On facile ground, I would see that there is close connection between all parts of my army. On contentious ground, I would hurry up my rear. On open ground, I would keep a vigilant eye on my defenses. On ground of intersecting highways, I would consolidate my alliance. Oh, so making sure that if you are on an open ground, make sure your alliances are in check. On serious ground, I would try to ensure a continuous stream of supplies. Wow, yeah, because if that gets cut off and you gotta go out there and look for some mushrooms, it ain't gonna be enough to fill a belly. On difficult ground, I would keep pushing on along the road. You just gotta go forward, right? On hemmed in ground, I would block any way of retreat. So I guess that to be inspire the soldiers to like just do or die. On desperate ground, I would proclaim to my soldiers the hopelessness of saving their lives. Oh, so just tell them straight up, like, if we don't fight, we're gonna die. Like, okay. For it is the soldier's disposition to offer an obstinate resistance when surrounded, to fight hard when he cannot help himself, and to obey promptly when he has fallen into danger. I think they have the ruins, the soldiers, those statues that were buried in the ground. Very famous. Okay? We cannot enter into an alliance with neighboring princes until we are acquainted with their designs. We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country. Okay, so you can't just lead them in like that without, at least having someone know on your team the geography. Its mountains and forests, its pitfalls, its precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unable to turn natural advantage to account unless we make use of local guides. A really nerdy way of looking at this, which also shows you the brilliance of Game of Thrones, is that beyond the wall, there's the people called the Wildlings, and they know the snow-capped mountains better than the people from the south who didn't know that land. And the crevasses, right? A pitfall, a precipice would be the sharp cuts, and if you were walking and there's snow and it's all white, you don't see it, you just go right in and you die. And what's funny here too is there's these ice rivers in actual real life called Mulans, or like that. It sounds like almost like my name. And there are these weird little dips that if you walk and you're not paying attention, they stop so short and they're so deep you might not see it. You might just be walking and you'll fall right into it. And it's very hard to rescue people out of those. It's funny that my name sounds like that, like that dangerous geography landmark, but he has a point here, But now today you have satellite imagery that can help you. But back in those days, they didn't just have some satellite floating in space where you could be like and have it totally pulled up. No Google Maps. To be ignored of any one of the following 4 or 5 principles does not befit a warlike prince. When a warlike prince attacks a powerful state, his generalship shows itself in preventing the concentration of the enemy's forces. So in order to see if you're really a prince of war, you need to make sure that the enemy doesn't have every opportunity of concentrating his aims. He overawes his opponents, makes it really like, wow, showing your magnificence. And their allies are prevented from joining against them. Caesar did that with Gaul. He was really worried about the tribes linking up with Vercingetorix in Gallic Wars. So the same principles he's talking about here are actually in Caesar's Gallic Wars. Tells you a lot how a Chinese culture and an ancient Roman culture have very similar principalities or principles and institutions that carry out these orders. Hence he does not strive to ally himself with all and sundry, nor does he foster the power of other states. He carries out his own secret designs, keeping his antagonists in awe. Okay, so he doesn't try to be buddy buddy with everybody, but he does not also try to get the power of other states. Instead, he kind of works on his own designs. Thus, he is able to capture their cities and overthrow their kingdoms. Bestow rewards without regard to rule. Issue orders without regard to previous arrangements. That seems like you could get into some trouble. And you will be able to handle a whole army as though you had to do with but a single man. Confront your soldiers with the deed itself. Never let them know your design. When the outlook is bright, bring it before their eyes, but tell them nothing when the situation is gloomy. Oh. But if you don't tell them when the situation is gloomy, I thought he said that you kind of want that because it kind of brings out their spirit more. Place your army in deadly peril and it will survive. Plunge it into desperate straits and it will come off in safety. I thought he just said don't let him... Maybe that means like don't let them know ahead of time that their situation is precarious. But it's different if it's like you're warning them of like our whole situation. But if they're in the middle of the melee, and then they know it, it's different. Maybe that's the nuance there. What do you think, family? For it is precisely when a force has fallen into harm's way that it is capable of striking a blow for victory. Success in warfare is gained by carefully accommodating ourselves to the enemy's purpose. Okay. What is the enemy's purpose? We have to see that. But the purpose isn't just, well, their purpose is to destroy us. Their purpose could be, well, they're going to usurp our kingdom or extract our resources, so we got to protect our resources. Or maybe they want something like, I don't know, a gold stash or something like that to calculate what the enemy wants. By persistently hanging on the enemy's flank, we shall succeed in the long run in killing the commander-in-chief. This is called ability to accomplish a thing by sheer cunning. On the day that you take up your command, block the frontier passes, destroy the official tallies, and stop the passage of all emissaries. Emissaries. The messengers. You can't let the messengers go in and out because the messengers could also be spies. Maybe that's what he means. So you can't let them go there and back. There's no free movement of that. Maybe you would have them meet on the edge of your camp, but you shouldn't let them go inside, right? I wonder if this is interesting. A lot here to think about. What do you think about his advice? Are you a master general now? You better be a master general now.